We now have a presentation, flock safety cameras. I see the sheriff is here.
Good morning, good morning.
Good morning.
How's everyone?
Great.
Good,
You
good.
should have some entertainment at the beginning of every meeting, too. Just to liven everybody up. I'm not sure how the PowerPoint machine works here, so thank you for helping me. Hey, by the way, Flock is just a name. As most of you know, we've had license plate reader technology for 10 to 15 years. You're the best. Thank you. Thank you very much. We've had license plate reader technology for many, many years, usually on mobile squad cars. Some departments have had stationary license plate readers in the past. But Flock is a new company on the market that we're very pleased with. There are other companies, and some agencies actually use other companies, and then we don't talk. We can't really share the information. The whole concept here is to make the community safer, and I would submit that since we started using them, we have. Crime is down another 22% this year in Ramsey County over the reductions from last year. Technology and everything available to us is a part of that. You can see that there are 5,000 communities throughout the country that use this product, Flock, and there's 50 in Minnesota. And in terms of transparency, the BCA website allows the public to go see what agencies are using Flock and actually where it is as well. So the whole concept here is to let officers on the street really know when a stolen car is driving through their jurisdiction. It's really about stolen cars. I know that there'll be questions and conversations about what else it can do. I welcome those conversations. But typically, our officers have phones that get alerts through an app that tells if there's a stolen car going by a particular camera, a stolen license plate, or what's called a COPS alert, keeping our police safe, which if the car has fled previously, it's wanted in a domestic assault, it has a felony warrant for some type of serious crime. Those are the three that we monitor. Can it also do revoked drivers? Yes. We don't have time to arrest every revoked driver, so we don't even really look at that. It's about high-level felonies that we're concerned about getting. The cost is roughly $3,000 a year for each city per camera. The most important thing is the data is deleted every 30 days. State law requires that we delete it after 60, but Flock has a policy of deleting it every 30 days. It's only accessed by law enforcement, and the locations, again, are posted online. So very transparent. Regarding our contract cities, and I know probably we're here because of the discussion at Arden Hills. I'm guessing that drove part of the discussion. All of our contract cities have decided they want Flock cameras with the exception of Arden Hills. Their vote was really 3-2, and they say they're still considering it in terms of whether to add them. But Little Canada has 3, North Oaks has 12, Shoreview 9, Vadnais Heights 4, White Bear Township 2, and we have 5 at-large cameras. And the primary reason for our at-large cameras is to find out which stolen cars are coming in to our jurisdiction. So Marshall Bridge, Ford Parkway Bridge are key for us because the stolens keep sneaking over here from Minneapolis. And then we have 3 others in really high traffic areas.
Excuse me, Sheriff,
Yes,
I have a question.
Yeah.
Commissioner McMurtry.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So looking at the municipalities that currently have the Flock cameras, how is it determined the quantity that's for each of the cities here? Is that because you see a larger influx of stolen cars in those areas? Just wondering how, like,
No.
North Oaks has 12.
Yeah, the city itself decides what level of camera coverage they would like to have. Mm-hmm. And North Oaks does have a disproportionately large number, but they have decided to secure all their entrances to their city. I might add that in addition to our contract cities, Mounds View, New Brighton, Roseville, White Bear Lake, and North St. Paul all have cameras as well, but they're not on our chart because it's someone else's responsibility.
Gotcha. And quick follow-up to that, just from my understanding, what is some of the data telling you thus far of like the effectiveness of this technology? What have you all seen from the statistics?
Yeah. Well, we have greatly reduced the number of stolen cars driving around Ramsey County. That's number one. We catch auto thieves, and it isn't just that auto thieves are auto thieves. Most of the time they're using a stolen car to commit other crime. Home burglaries, there's guns in these cars. I would say 50% of the time that we're stopping a stolen car, we're finding the young people are carrying guns as well. So those are the types of crimes that we've seen so far. Long term, what we really, North Oaks is a great example. If there's a burglary that occurs in North Oaks where someone's home is, victimized, we like to be able to go back and see which cars came into that area. So we can then start developing clues to determine who the suspects are. I can't honestly say that we've had that level of success yet, because frankly, we don't have many burglaries in our contract cities, thankfully. But that's the goal, to be able to go back and reconstruct who came into a neighborhood, who might have victimized a drive-by shooting. If there's a drive-by shooting somewhere in Little Canada along Rice Street, we have cameras there that can help us determine who was in that area. St. Paul also has cameras. They probably have, I think, 16 cameras at the current time.
Excuse me, Sheriff.
Yeah.
Commissioner Jones Singh?
Yeah, that was one of my questions was, one would be outside of our contract cities, you've mentioned that other cities have the flock cameras, and are they all working in concert with each other, meaning that's one of the benefits is that you can all be talking and seeing as cars are moving around the city?
It's a great question. For the most part, yes. And in Ramsey County, everyone's working together. There are some cities in the metro area that just a couple have decided not to share their information. But for the most part, we partner with 32 metropolitan agencies. It's like 250 cameras with 32 agencies. We have taken steps to not share our data with outstate or agencies out of the state. And you're probably aware what happened in Loveland, Colorado, and Denver, Colorado. So we've taken steps to make sure that our data is not used by other federal agencies as well.
Can you maybe describe that for folks who aren't aware of that?
In Colorado, the flock system was accessed by federal agencies for immigration purposes. And so we've taken steps to make sure that doesn't happen here.
That would be one of the questions I would have is the use or request or taking of data from federal agencies into places that traditionally we never would have considered them used in that way is happening in real time. And those are decisions made by other folks, not here. But I guess how can we reassure our residents that that won't happen here?
Well, we take every step to audit our use. The other agencies, we have a complete audit trail of who's in the system, who's accessing any of our data. And so, I guess you have to count on me to make sure it happens.
And what recourse would there be? What action would you as the sheriff be able to undertake should you see that a federal agency was accessing our data or requesting it or using it in a way that wasn't our policy here on the ground?
I don't think there's a recourse after the fact. We just have to make sure that it's not accessible on the front end. A strongly worded letter. I mean, holding the federal government accountable isn't something easy for local governments, right?
Commissioner Young?
Thank you, Sheriff, for being here. I have a question about how long we have used this, or if this is just something that we're going to implement.
I'm sorry.
How long has the county been using this?
About a year and a half. About a year and a half. I would say it's slow implementation. I mean, we obviously just added the cameras in North Oaks. Each local municipality has made a decision they wanted to be on the system, but the at-large cameras have probably been in place for about a year. So, but again, we've had license plate reader technology for several years on our squad cars, and the ability to mount some more expensive permanent cameras with the old technology. This is just more user-friendly for us.
Okay. And are these stationary cameras?
They are. But we also are implementing them in our squads as well. We're replacing our old license plate reader technology over time with the new license plate reader technology.
Okay. And help me to understand how this is in compliance with state law when this is deleted every 30 days, but state law requires 60 days, you said?
State law doesn't, well, state law allows us to delete it anytime.
Oh,
But
okay.
they want to make sure it's deleted at least in 60. So we could delete it at 1 week. We've decided the 30 days in terms, if a person's on vacation for 2 weeks and their home is burglarized and we want to go back and look at who was in the neighborhood, we like that 30-day window so we can check the data. I mean, maybe 21 days would work, but a week is too short.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
And then just last question. I appreciate Commissioner Jevon Singh asking about, just the sharing of the information between agencies. May you affirm what type of data you're pulling through the cameras?
What kind of data?
Yeah, what type of data are you
Well, that's a
pulling?
good question. I mean, the technologies of the future are, AI is changing the way the world looks at data. We did have a presentation from a third company talking about what their AI technology is capable of. Frankly, it's fascinating. We don't employ any AI or any video. Flock has the ability to capture video, but it's quite costly. So we just have still cameras. So what Flock does is it photographs every car that drives by, and its technology is able to tell you the license plate. It's really, well, I won't say anymore because the criminals might know more than they should. But it really captures the license plate. It runs it in the state's database and determines through the NCIC records if it's a stolen or stolen plate or if there's a cops alert. But future technology will be able to take video of cars and maybe video of people walking through shopping malls, state fair, large places that people are grouped. And of course, we don't employ any facial recognition, but in other countries, in London, Metro Police has pretty much everyone is recorded in facial recognition that's walking on their streets. A lot of agencies are upgrading to facial recognition. That's a policy decision that we would bring to you before we went that far. But there is technology there that can identify people by their gait, by how they walk. And so the presentation that we had from it's an Israeli-based company was showing us how we could find people at the state fair just by how they're walking. If you had a small child, AI is able to tell that small, short person isn't with someone else. It's just standing there looking around. So we could find lost children with that technology as well. So they can use any type of camera to log on. And, the state capitol has 1,000 cameras at the state capitol. And cameras have traditionally been great for solving crime after it occurs because you usually have 1 or 2 people monitoring 1,000 cameras. But what would be great and the benefits of AI in the future is to help you identify unusual behavior before the incident occurs. And that is the future. And we are going to have to be prepared to enter that future where cameras are attempting to predict unusual behavior that could be connected to a possible future crime.
Let me just go around. I have Commissioner McGuire, then Commissioner McMurtry, then Commissioner Jevons.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Sheriff, for this presentation, because as I've been presenting to my cities, you know, they've been debating some of this. And I know, my question is, do you offer to, you've offered it, I would expect, to all of our cities, and it's just whether they've accepted or not. And then if they didn't at first because they didn't know enough about it, now they will. Is it any time can someone, they can get cameras put
Yes,
in their city,
yes.
right, I'm guessing?
Yes.
And it's all up to the city council.
Just for clarity, we're not offering it to the cities that we don't have contracts
Oh,
with.
right, okay.
So your cities, Falcon Heights, Roseville, they're on their own.
Okay, so
to determine.
they get to do it on their own, all
Yeah.
right. It's the
But
other
we
cities.
partner then
Okay,
with them.
thank you. And then my other question is, I'm guessing these cameras aren't visible, like people don't really see them. They're kind of obscure.
Every
Otherwise-
city has the option of deciding how they want to notify their public. Some cities have put large 1-by-2-foot signs out that say flock cameras in use to prevent criminals from driving by them, but B, to be transparent
Yeah.
and let the public know. If you're a CEO of Astronomer Corporation and you want to get to your girlfriend's house without being recorded, you would know then to drive around. Is there any humor to that you found? So with a lot of places let the public know, but some don't. Some like, you know, cameras that are hidden, but they're all publicly accessible if you wanted to actually find out where they were.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner McMurtry.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I want to follow up back on the federal agencies and the data sharing there, because I hear what you're saying on, you know, the limitations that we have as local governments, especially under this current administration. But I still strongly believe that we should be prepared on our end. So has there been any conversations between your department and the county attorneys just to determine a process in place in the event we get, you know, requests coming from federal agents, specifically when it comes to immigration while using this technology?
Have not had those conversations. I'd be glad to engage John with that. I'm sure he'd be welcome to have that conversation. You know, number one, I'm confident that we have a relationship with them, that they're not going to try to compromise our system, the federal agencies. So I feel pretty confident, but you're right. There's always a classic example, you know, where one agent decides to talk to a local officer and try to get into the system. Here's the good news. The information that we have in our system isn't overly valuable because we don't know where the car is all the time. We know where the car is at a time and date at a certain point. It's even very hard for us when we have a car drives across the Marshall Bridge and it's stolen and we want to find it. We have extreme difficulty covering all the routes that it's going to go. So it's moderately valuable, but there are so many other databases that are more valuable for investigative agencies. You're aware that the federal government just authorized access to Medicare and Medicaid information. That information has location data, relative data, et cetera. That would be investigatively much more valuable than the type of information we're collecting.
Would you say that the information that we're collecting could, coupled with the data and the technology that the federal government have, could still play like a piece in the puzzle of what they're trying to do?
Yeah, if I was an investigator looking for a person and I knew the car that they were driving, I would think that was somewhat valuable to be able to get into the system, yes. I think there are some people that could attempt that in the future, but you know, we have ways of determining who's in the system.
No, I appreciate that, and I would actually encourage a conversation with the county attorney's office, just so we are prepared on our end, and if you could share that with the board as well of what that process looks like, just so we're aware. I think that would be beneficial.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's, I will say there's a balancing act here. Let's just face it, all these privacy issues, we're always balancing them. Facial recognition, flock readers, I mean, and the line changes over time. Let's just face it, the public, they get tired of crime, and then the technology improves, and they say, why aren't we using that technology? I first put cameras in the county parks back in 1999 to help stop the thefts of all the county parks, because people get their cars broken into on a regular basis in these county parks. That was controversial. Cameras in parks, no license plate readers, just we wanted to see who's breaking into cars so we could stop the car thefts. But we were one of the first to have any cameras anywhere. Now cameras are pretty much everywhere. Ring doorbells, every business has cameras, so everything has its time. I don't know, where the flock camera wave will end, but it's something I'm concerned about as well in terms of making sure we're not monitoring humans 24 hours a day everywhere they drive the car. That's not the purpose of the system, to know where everybody is.
Thank you. Commissioner Jevon Singh.
Okay, well, I've got some general ones, and then I have a constituent had some technical questions, so I'll keep those for later. But one of the questions that came was from the contract cities wondering, so we have some cameras that are in main entry points in St. Paul. Is St. Paul part of paying for those, or is that a county expense?
St. Paul is paying for their own 16 cameras. The 5 that we have that are in St. Paul, for the most part, are on county roads. Not everyone, but for the most part, the county and city roads are different depending on who's maintaining them. And ours are paid for by grants from the Department of Commerce. The Department of Commerce has an auto theft prevention grant program that they give us money for.
And if one of the cities decided, this isn't for us, we don't want these cameras here, would you ever decide to place something on a county road as part of a system-wide need of having that corner have a camera?
It's a good question. There are people in our organization that think that's a right. I have told our staff, if Arden Hills does not want them, we don't put them in Arden Hills. It's a policy issue. Yes, we probably have the right to put them on a county road, but if a city says we don't want them, not just because of cost, but that there was a 3-2 vote. One of the members was concerned about the cost. The other 2, maybe some privacy issues. I think, if we just paid for them, the 3rd vote might switch, but I don't want to put cameras in communities where there's not consensus on having the cameras. So I've told our staff, do not plan on putting them on any roads in Arden Hills until Arden Hills decides that's what they want. But it shows you the difference. Arden Hills doesn't really want them. North Oaks wants as many as they can.
And then that would be another question. I hadn't really thought to go there given the presentation, but your earlier comment, even though it was tongue-in-cheek about, folks avoid cameras so that they're not, if they're doing things that maybe are not illegal.
That's a better paraphrase of what I said, yes.
Yeah. I guess the idea of the use of surveillance, the idea that if for whatever reason there may be a decision because you have the capacity to take a look at where a particular car, because of the owner of that car, is and where they are, or patterns that they're in, or anything like that, you can see how this would make people feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And I'm just wondering what kind of assurances that isn't how, and the reason why I say that too is we were kidding about how North Oaks has so many. When those conversations were happening back in the day, I would say it was about 50-50 who were thinking, this is great surveillance. That was the push that they were, not saying the sheriff's office was, but internally. And I'm just wondering, how do we reassure folks who are worried that is what's going to be happening or is happening with these cameras?
We reassure them by telling them the system, the technology allows us to audit it. Every single search that's done by anyone in the system, we have an audit trail of who is searching what. We do that on a regular basis, check in who's searching. For a variety of reasons, we want to know, who's working and who's not. But we actually have the ability to tell if someone's searching for a car. They have to enter the reason for the search. It has to be tied to a case number, some investigation that we're in the middle of. And obviously, if there's repeated license numbers, the same number checked over a number of period of time, and it isn't tied to some case that we can verify, those would be red flags for us to go in and look. But at this point, I just think we reassure them by knowing that the sheriff's office has a person assigned to audit that on a regular basis.
And then the technology questions, one was just as emerging technologies are coming on and there may be add-ons or AI or upgrades or, we know how, we all experience this every day on our phones, right?
Yeah.
All of a sudden, the system just says, guess what? We now have the ability to do this. And we can anticipate from the conversation that you had, whether it's AI or facial recognition or any other kinds of where these flock cameras are going. I guess, what would be the protocol for you to be either sharing with the board or community for transparency if and when Ramsey County would ever be opting into or opting out of such advances, so that we don't have this one discussion and then 5 years from now we're like, oh yeah, we knew that could happen, and it just kind of like rolled with technology and now we're there, I guess.
I 100% agree and understand your question. I have no desire to adopt any technology policy that you haven't had a chance to take a swing at, and hopefully a majority would agree with. The only reason that LPR or flock hasn't been in front of you before is it's been in use for 10 to 15 years, long before you were here or even I came back a second time. So it's not a new technology, it's just a new company that's done a nice job of networking other agencies together. That's the real advantage of Flock. They've gone and networked other agencies into a sharing capability. In the past, we didn't really share much. So rest assured, if there's new technology, new exciting things, I'll bring it to you. Do we have a technology committee yet? Yeah, that's not going to happen. You're not going to see new things suddenly surprise you on the horizon.
I have Commissioner Moran, then Commissioner Sean, and then McGuire.
First question is really simple. Thank you for being here today, Sheriff.
Glad to.
Why is it called Flock?
I have no idea.
Okay,
Is it a private?
I'm just curious. It's a brand.
Is it a private company?
Yes.
It's a
Yes.
company.
Yes.
Okay. So, as I think about this and the cameras and being able to, the whole AI and facial recognition, voice recognition, a lot of, some of this seems a little bit scary, right? It seems that it could be a little bit intrusive, looking at privacy, but I think it also could be very useful. I would like to think that when the speaker, Melissa Hortman, was murdered, there were some cameras that was able to track, right? And in my mind, I feel like cameras are everywhere.
Yeah.
Whether they are or not, I just feel like they are everywhere.
Yeah.
And maybe they are. And so, as we talk about, safety, as I look at like University and Dale, when I look at a neighborhood like mine where, I get so many people who are frustrated, whether they're residents in the community or business in the community or myself in the community, about what I feel is the lack of safety in that area. I sometimes believe that we need cameras to track people. We need a sign that says a flock camera is in use. We are watching you in that neighborhood. And that maybe people will move on and maybe they wouldn't be so blatant in what they're doing in the community, right? Because I think there are also a time where residents want to feel safe, taxpayers want to feel safe, those who are raising their kids in the community wants to feel safe. And and sometimes there's a feel of disregard for all of that because we just let people do what people do. And so, and I do believe this is really not a question for you because you don't have a contract with St. Paul. St. Paul if there's any cameras, then that is something that they are monitoring. But is there any type of partnership or relationship that is not a contractual one,
Yeah.
that is between you and the city of St. Paul?
Well, there is definitely a partnership. We're ongoing, have good working relationships. We have offered to help with University Dale, University Arundel, University Snelling, Kimball House. I mean, we have offered on several occasions to help. Now, you're on those committees. You've watched sort of the conversations, lack of progress, right, to be fair. And so where that goes in terms of helping Dale and University is really up to St. Paul. They need to decide if that's an important enough priority to clean up the southeast corner there. And regarding this technology, there are a couple things you could do. I'm actually a proponent of putting cameras on large public spaces and letting the public access them. Just let the public know, like that corner of Dale and University, let the public see what's happening, because honestly, the police officers do not have enough time to monitor all of their cameras and to see who's selling drugs and who's not. I mean, the drug trade at some of these transit stations is significant. If you go to North Minneapolis on Broadway, it's on a regular basis. So what I would say is maybe we solicit help from our community and have put them eyes and ears on some of the corners as well. And we're talking about large public spaces, not private places that people would go. So A, we're willing to help St. Paul with whatever they need. And I know that's a priority for you. B, there are technologies in this area that could help with that problem as well. Not flock cameras, just regular cameras. And C, I think, you know, we're at the point now that if the community wants to spend time looking at areas that are problematic for us, why not let them? So, but that's just my opinion.
That's kind of what you do too, like live, right, in real time. You are showing what's happening.
You talking about when we're patrolling? Yes, but I mean, there's no reason we couldn't mount a camera there and just show it live all the time, that what's happening on that corner. That has a way of improving things. I've seen that in the past, but it's, again, we don't want to step on St. Paul's toes. The Dale University problem is theirs, and to a lesser extent Metro Transit, but we are willing to partner. I believe that the transit problems could be cleaned up relatively quickly. I've always said there's 8 trains going from University from Minneapolis to St. Paul. We put 2 deputies on each train, that's 16 deputies. If you're using fentanyl or drugs or not paying your fare, we can get you off the train pretty quick. We can clean up transit pretty quick. No one really has wanted to do that, and that's because the ancillary services to help people that have those issues of addiction, no one has figured out how to get them into those support services. And so getting drug and narcotic use off the train is step 1. Getting individuals into some type of network that they can begin to improve is step 2. No one has designed a step 2. You're more familiar with that problem than me.
Well, you know, as I sit here as a commissioner and also as a resident,
Yep.
in the community, like you, I'm going to call on the community, right, to be a part of that decision-making process of what they want and what we need. Because I think it is a part of some action that needs to happen, you know, whether, and no one person can do something, right? It needs to be a collection, a collective effort to create safer streets, to create a safer platform for people to ride light rail. And I'm a true believer that those who will be impacted are the ones that really needs to be making decisions around what that needs to look like, because it becomes personal. And I think when things are personal, people see the world differently, you know. We're just gonna keep working on that. And I've heard you to, you know, in request to partner and help, even through the dollars that you have received from the state.
Correct.
To how you could be helpful in this effort to see and support what's happening locally on University of Yale.
We have 3 transit stations that are in the capital area district that we intend to bring some positive presence to. Then there are 2 others. Marion is in our district, but then Western and Dale are the other 2 that we're trying to develop a plan if we can extend our presence in the capital area from Marion and University down to Dale and University. And we're looking at how we could help impact that as well. Basically, we will have people riding the trains from probably from Dale to down at 5th and Minnesota, that quadrant. And I know the transportation chair, who's Chair Ortega, has been one of the biggest advocates of light rail over the years. And let's get it right?
Well, I just end by saying, you know, a partnership with the city, and I'm also having conversation with my state rep, Samakam Hussein.
Yep.
And also Representative Maria Issa, about how we can bring that down a little bit more.
Yeah.
And make University of Dale also a priority as they look at the capital investments and how to do some improvements.
I think there's a way, we're figuring out a way that we can do that and argue that doesn't negatively impact what we're doing at the Capitol. Mm-hmm. So we have 4 new community service officers coming on as a part of the state grant, and we have 3 that we already have. So if we can use a couple of the existing ones in the mix, that would justify us having a presence down to Dale and University as well. So that's our concept.
Well, thanks. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Sean.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I want to go back to 2 topics. One is around data, and then the other one is around the cost. So around the data, who owns the data?
Great question. Depends who you ask. It's like entering.
What's in the agreement with FLOC?
Yeah, I don't, Kyle?
Usually the respective agency.
Usually us. It's technically, we have control of the data, but we don't physically house it. It's housed on FLOC's servers, but we have control of the data. It's just like your Facebook page. Is it your data or is it Facebook's? And you like to think it's yours, but it may not be.
My question around that is, could ICE pull data from FLOC?
I suppose if they had a search warrant, legally signed search warrant, they probably would be able to. But they'd have to demonstrate probable cause to believe that that information they're looking for is in there.
Okay.
Which is a big lift.
Mm-hmm. And is that what it says in the agreements that you have with them?
With FLOC? Mm-hmm. Well, I don't think it really addresses that. We have control over who can access our data, but if a search warrant of some sort was served on FLOC, you know, we serve search warrants on phone companies on a regular basis to get phone data, location data. So, you know, we can't control what the federal government does with their search warrants. But I have to tell you, there's so many other ways to get information that would assist them than what our system would provide.
Okay.
We would know, FLOC would notify us immediately if they had a warrant to get the information. And I would let you know, we would be back here at the table deciding, you know, what's the best way to protect our data.
Okay. And that's in current agreements right now?
that they
between
would.
Flock and the county?
Well, we have a great relationship with the Flock people. Our people are
Oh,
talking.
no, I'm talking about contractual
As
obligations.
far as them notifying us?
Yeah.
I don't know. Probably not. Probably the question has never come up, but they notify us about other things that are going on. We're
Yeah.
constantly updating the system based on new cameras and who's adding cameras to the system.
I strongly encourage then, for you to work with the
Great
county
idea.
attorney's office on this.
I'll make sure we have a
those.
memorandum of understanding with Flock that says they'll notify us if there's a attempt to seize any data, our data from, through some type of search warrant.
Okay, thank you.
It's a great idea.
And then for cost, are all of these 35 cameras funded through the DOC grant right now?
No, our 5 are funded through the grant. The other ones are really funded directly from the agencies that you have there.
Oh, so the cities that have them?
Cities, the
Okay,
cities,
so
yes.
they're paying for their
It's
own?
levy neutral as far as we're concerned.
Okay.
you know.
Okay, great. Yeah, I just wanted to clarify that because
Yeah.
some cities, like, for example, in this case, North Oaks, that has a population of 5,000 some people, has 12. And then Shoreview, that has a lot more, has 9. So just questions about how the cost shifts are happening
Yeah.
and who's paying for what.
Each city's paying for their own at this
Okay,
point.
great, thank you.
Yeah.
Bob, I just want to go back to the question that Commissioner Jean raised. We delete the data after 30 days. Is that what you said?
Well, Flock does, but yes, that's Flock's policy, and we support it.
So when they delete it, is
Is it gone, or is it somewhere?
Yes.
I'm assuming it's gone.
okay.
Kyle, do you know, gone?
Shouldn't be to comply with the relevant provisions of state law.
Well, for sure, state law says 60, but I would think it's gone after 30.
Yeah, whether it's 30 or 60, my question is it still in some data bank somewhere?
Yeah, it's a fair question. I can find out. That I can find out. I don't think so. I don't think they do that, but
It'd
But
just be good to know.
good to get the answer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you.
Do you want me to run your plate?
You've been following me around?
We got lunch. We have lunch tomorrow? What are
Yeah, we do.
Okay.
Commissioner McGuire
Yes.
and Chairman Singh.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We've been talking about costs, and if you've said it, I don't know. About how much does it cost for these cameras in the cities?
Typically, it's $3,000 a year for a user agreement per camera.
Per year?
Per year per camera, but Flock has been offering to pay for installation or help cut the cost of installation because they want the market. You know how that goes. So $3,000 a year for servicing license fee
Per camera,
per camera.
per camera.
Yep.
Wow, thank you.
That covers the database that stores all the data and
And it
stuff.
stores all the data
Yeah.
and everything, yeah.
Commissioner Jevon Singh?
And with that, if as we know, Arden Hills has opted out, so will they have to pay in any way for the maintenance of the data of these cameras at large, just as part of Ramsey County Sheriff's Services to them?
No, they won't.
Okay. And then another question that I have is, I think it's really key for us to be aware of whether or not we as a state, because of our statutes, or we as a county, we have the 30-day deletion. To the chair's question, is data being held time memorial for somebody else to access at some future date
Yep.
for some other purpose, would be a question not to be assumed, but I think should be asked and clarified
Yep.
with our agreements. Okay.
I agree, and on that point, just so you know, there is a state law that requires every agency to have an audit every 2 years of both their body camera policy and practice and their license plate reader practice. So we've been in this about a year. Probably within the next year, we'll have an audit conducted by an independent auditor that will examine some of those other questions as well.
And my guess is, and clarify if I'm reading this wrong, that would be looking at our behavior and use of the data, but maybe not of Flock's, like, grand scheme of things.
Well, we'll get to the bottom of where the data
Okay.
goes after 30 days.
All right, and then the other question I would just say, I really appreciate you coming and explaining this. As you can see, you know, we get questions all the time around these things, and because this is your department, I think having it come directly from you where you can answer the questions, how all of this directly is immensely helpful, not only for us, but for our constituents and our cities and things like that. And I would really encourage and request that in the future, if any of this technology expands, if there's upgrades, if there's changes, if there are any other bits and pieces that come in, whether it's an update, whether it's a full presentation or just some information back to the board so that it's proactive. It only helps us to communicate any concerns or questions that constituents have in a more direct way. So I appreciate your coming and grading.
No, I appreciate you calling and inviting. I anticipate after the Arden Hills meeting, I anticipated your call, and then the day after the Loveland, Colorado issue, Ling called and said, let's have the meeting. So, I mean, I could see that this was a good time to have the conversation.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, Madam, Mr. Chair and Commissioners, so I think one takeaway that I will take with, in coordination with the Sheriff's Office is to provide some sort of follow-up memo around some of the topics that we've discussed today. The other thing that we worked with Deputy County Manager Reyes and Kyle Mistead is also a FAQ on the Sheriff's webpage to just answer some very basic questions about flocks. So there's both transparency for the public and also some follow-ups for the board that we can take away. And that can include some follow-ups about the possible relationship with the flock company, some connection with the county attorney's office, and we can do that. So are you agreeable with that?
100%, Ling. We have no secrets. And we can probably put a link on our website to the state website that shows who has cameras and, you know, where they might be mounted. People are interested in that kind of stuff. You know.
All right.
Anybody else?
That's good.
Well, thank you.
Well, that was fun. Thank you.
One more question.
Yeah, Sheriff.
Commissioner Sheen.
Just a quick question. Where may they find this online? So I'm on your webpage, but I can't find the link where it would show where the cameras are.
We haven't done that yet.
We don't have it right now. I'm just
you
saying
don't.
we
We're
can
saying
do
we'll
that.
do it
But the
as a
state has one. State has one, and you know you can go to the BCA website or BCA website, flock cameras, and you can see where all the agencies that have them.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah.
Just on that, Mr. Chair.
Commissioner
So
McGuire.
now that we posted it online, or now that you're going to, then people can just go a different route. But I guess there's only a few ways to cross the bridge, cross the river, I guess. So
Wow.
part of me is glad we're transparent, but the other is we
Right.
sometimes we don't want to publicize
Yeah.
all the things that we're doing.
At this time in the evolution of technology, we're letting the criminals know where we're at. 10 years from now, we might not be. You know, things evolve over time. But, you know, the technology is amazing. Our investigators do an amazing job. You know that most cars manufactured nowadays have the ability to be tracked. And so if a car is stolen, we get permission from the owner to get into their system, and we can tell where the stolen car is. Now, not the older cars, but most of them. In fact, it's gotten to the point where the criminals are trying to tear out the GPS from the roof of the car because they know they can be tracked. But, so we have technology options there for stolen cars. And, you know, there's phones. Everyone's phone can be tracked nowadays if a judge decides that you're involved in criminal activity. Everybody here can know where I'm at all the time. I don't care. I'll just put you on my location. But when they're involved in criminal activity with guns and stuff, they don't want to be known. And most criminals would rather give up their 3 fingers on their hand than they would their phone. This phone is their connection to their entire criminal and social network. So this phone is always with them. And so we use that technology to help solve crime too. But we're not tracking people that we don't have a warrant in order to get into their phone, that a judge says they're part of criminal activity. I just point that out. You want to know about technology? We use whatever we can legally to catch the bad guys. Thank you.
Well, thank you,
Thank you.
Bob.
Thank you.
It was a great presentation and quite educational for us.